Beautiful readings from the book of Leviticus and the Gospel of Matthew. These two biblical readings form a discussion about what it means to live a faithful life before God or to live holiness during Lent. The holiness rules that Israel received at Mount Sinai contain a passage from Leviticus. God commands, "Be holy, because I, the Lord your God, am holy." It is the very first command. The practical social meaning of this holiness is: do not oppress or rob your neighbors, do not curse the deaf or trip the blind, do not steal, lie, or deceive. It demands impartial justice, respect for the marginalized, and fair wages for workers. The pinnacle is a twofold command: to love your neighbor as yourself and to love the foreigner living among you. So the practice of faith cannot be separated from love, and real love is manifested in our relationship with those around us, our neighbors. The scene moves to the final judgment in Matthew chapter 25. As a shepherd separates sheep from goats, Jesus represents the Son of Man on his majestic throne, separating all nations, feeding the hungry, welcoming strangers, clothing the naked, caring for the sick, and visiting prisoners and the criteria for this final judgment. My dear sisters and brothers in Christ, all of us at the end of our life will be judged based on love. Whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me, says Jesus, identifying himself with the marginalized, with the disadvantaged, the poor, and those who are weak. Matthew portrays Christ's presence in those who suffer and are disregarded, while Leviticus bases its statutes on Israel's covenant with a holy God. Serving others is direct service to the king and goes beyond just legal compliance. The text or the passages have a strong resonance with one another. True faith has to appear in justice and love, as defined by both. Both give priority to those who are most in need, the impoverished, the strangers. Both declare that our true relationship with God appears in the way we treat others. Leviticus emphasizes our obligation to imitate God's holiness, whereas Matthew emphasizes a direct experience with Christ in the least of these. That is the main distinction in motivation. These passages are extremely relevant throughout Lent, the very special time and opportunity for self-examination, especially in the way we live out our love. They challenge us to reflect on the quality of our love, rather than merely fasting from eating and attending church. Fasting and almsgiving are tools or instruments to help us recognize the world's challenges, not ends in themselves. They encourage us to recognize Christ in our needy neighbors and demonstrate God's righteousness through acts of kindness and justice. My dear sisters and brothers, Lent becomes a journey toward authentic holiness, a holiness that reflects the very heart of God by combining Matthew's exhortation to serve the least with Leviticus' command to love our neighbor. And Jesus, who identifies himself to the poor, the needy, and the weak, sacrifices himself on the cross to give us a real example how to love all people who are sinners and poor in life. Now let us approach the altar where Jesus sacrifices himself so that by receiving the communion, we will be strengthened like Jesus to love the least among us.